In Chapter 4 in Go Math, students have begun their regrouping work in order to do addition. Regrouping is a fairly new vocabulary term for what most people are used to the term carrying, especially in double-digit addition. It is no longer called carrying, and it is called regrouping, and I'll explain to you in this lesson a little bit why that is. In this lesson, we're going to be modeling the regrouping process of adding two two-digit numbers or a two-digit number to a one-digit number using base 10 blocks to help us. Let's take a closer look. You'll see over on this side that I have a box here for place value that says tens and ones. You'll also notice our old friends, those base 10 blocks, the tens or the longs, which stand for 10, and the cubes, which stand for ones. We're going to be using this today to help us do some regrouping work. In the problem where it says add 47 and 15, the first thing you'll see is that I have already made out the 47 and the 15 using base 10 blocks. I have 47 on top, 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, and I also have 15 on the bottom, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I'm going to have to add these two together, and I'm going to use base 10 blocks and modeling to help me do some regrouping. The first thing I ask students and help them remember is that it's a lot easier for me to add and count longs or tens than it is for me to individually count ones or cubes. So using our 10 frames, which are these blocks here that make 10, I have students take a look and say, is there any way that I could regroup these together to make a long? If they look here, they can see that I only have to have 3 more cubes to fill up my 10 frame. I can take 3 cubes from down here and put them up into my top 10 frame. When I move them over, I can cross them out because I've used them. Now, once this 10 frame is filled, I ask myself, well, I know that I can regroup 10 cubes or 10 ones into one 10 or one long. When I have a full 10 frame, I can turn that into one long. When I do that, I can also cross off those cubes that I used. Now, if there's no other work I can do on my one side, I certainly don't have enough room to put 8 cubes down on this 10 frame. I only have 2 left. I'm going to look over to my tens and count how many I have left. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all together. And then how many ones do I have left over? Well, I have 2. And I know from chapter 2 that 6 tens and 2 ones is the same as 62. Therefore, 47 and 15 when added together give me the number 62. Let's do some more practice. Again, it says add 26 and 38, two two-digit numbers. On the top here, I've already illustrated 26 using base 10 blocks and 38 using base 10 blocks on the bottom. It's easier for me to add tens or longs than it is ones. So I ask students, is there any way that I can fill up a 10 frame to make my counting easier? I sure can. I can take 4 cubes from down here, bring them up, and plug them right into my 10 frame up top. Once I move them over, it's important to cross these out so I don't count them twice. When I have a full 10 frame, I know that I can take these 10 and make it into a long. When I do that, I'm going to cross those out. Now, I don't have enough for me to fill this other 10 frame, so it looks like that's all the regrouping I can do. I regrouped these 10 ones into one 10. Now, how many 10s do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And as for my ones, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 ones left over. 6 tens and 4 ones is the same as the number 64. 26 and 38 when added together gives me the number 64. Let's look at another example. This one's a little bit different. It says add 59 and 6. Once again, I have 59 illustrated on top and 6 on the bottom. I then ask myself, is there any way I can fill up one of my 10 frames? Sure, I can take a cube from down here and move it into this top frame and make sure that I cross this out. Once I have a full 10 frame, I know I can turn these 10 ones into 1, 10. Then I can cross this piece out. There's no way I can fill up my 10 frames, so it looks like I'll start going and counting my 10s. How many do I have left over? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And how many ones do I have left over? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 tens, 5 ones is the same as the number 65. Therefore, 59 and 6 equals 65. One thing for students to remember and to help prompt them is to make sure that they cross off the cube after you move it into the 10 frame. And also to cross out that 10 frame once you regroup into the 10s. A lot of times students, when they don't cross out the numbers, they're adding too many ones when it comes down to do counting work. Another example. This one's a little bit different because we have to do some of the building of our numbers ourselves for review. So when it says add 33 and 7, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make 33 with my base 10 blocks. 10, 20, 30, 31, 32, and 33. Then I'm going to make 7 down below. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. After I do that, then I'm going to go back and do some counting work. I'm going to ask myself, is there any way I can fill up one of these frames to make my counting easier? I can take these 3 ones and move them down to this 10 frame. Students often ask me, Ms. Caffell, does it matter do I have to put the cubes on the top? Can I bring them to the bottom? I tell them that as long as they fill up the 10, whatever is easiest for them, they can. It doesn't matter if they go up to the top 10 frame or down to the bottom. If done correctly, it's going to give you the same answer. So once I move my cubes, I'm going to cross those out. I know that I can regroup 10 ones into 1 10. When I do that, I'm going to cross off my 10 frame. How many 10s do I have left? I have 4, and I have no 10s left over. Therefore, my number is going to be 40. 33 and 7 when added together gives me a number of 40. Again, now I have the number add 23 and 37. Students start off with having the base 10 blocks for them, and now they're going to have to do all of this thinking by themselves. It's a good review for base 10 blocks in general. 23 I'm going to make into base 10 blocks. 10, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 37 down the bottom. 10, 20, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, and 37. The next thing you're going to do after you do that is start to get to some math work here. All right, can I put any of these together to make my counting easier? Sure. I can take these 3 down here and add them down into my 10 frame. 1, 2, 3. Then I can cross this out. I know that it's easier for me to add a long than it is for me to add individual cubes or ones. Therefore, I can regroup 10 ones into 1 10 and cross it out. Now, how many 10s do I have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 for the one that we regrouped. There are no ones left over, and my number turns out to be 60. 23 and 37 when added together after some regrouping work gives me an answer of 60. So that's how students have been working in classroom to get their brains ready for all that hard regrouping work we have to do in second grade. They're modeling these numbers using base 10 blocks, and really it's a way for them to